What's going on, Master Duel fans? It's your boy Cal Life here, bringing you a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel video, and today we're going to be talking about my Sprite new deck. Basically, this Sprite variant is basically playing 2 copies of Soul Drain, which is a way for us to go ahead and stop Tearlaments and a copy of an End of an Anubis. So if you guys don't know, this card literally kills Tearlaments off along with Soul Drain. While this card is face up on the field, all effects of spell, traps, and monster cards that target a card in the graveyard or that activate in the graveyard are negated. So basically, it would just kill them off completely. They won't be able to use any of those effects. They won't be able to do anything. They can't use their shufflers. They can't use any Tearlament cards there like at all to shuffle it back into the deck to make fusions. It's just dead, and it really just kills them. And Soul Drain does the exact same thing because monsters can't activate cards in the graveyard, and on top of that, this card destroys Fluhanderies, as monsters that are banished cannot activate their effects either. So do keep that in mind. This card is actually cracked. This card is probably going to be limited, if I'm being honest, because we know that Konami does not want you to be able to floodgate their lovely Tearlament deck. Okay, but anyways, guys, we were playing 2 copies of DD Crow, 3 copies of Swamp Frog, and 1 copy of Ronin Totem. This card should have been banned. I don't even understand how this card is free. On top of that, we have 3 Maxis, another card that should have been banned. Are you guys seeing like like a pattern here? Like, come on now. And they're level 2s. That's crazy. Anyways, we are playing Wind Up Kitten. Wind Up Kitten is really good because it can bounce back at Kick Hollows or any of the cards, that way forcing their effects not to go off. We do also play Nimble Angler. Nimble Angler, pitching that to the grave from deck or hand is really good, because then we can summon out the Nimble Beaver, and this card would be really good, especially when we get Sprite Sprind, which is another Sprite Link monster. Then we are playing Ipria and Capshell. Those are our 2 draws. I like these cards together at 1. I wouldn't play them at 3, honestly, especially Ipria, because Ipria effect is an automatic effect, and this can trigger a Haviness, and that's sometimes really bad for you. We are playing 3 copies of Sprite Blue, 3 copies of Jet, 2 copies of Red, and then 2 copies of Carrot. I like to see these cards in my hand, but I don't want to see like triple. And on top of that, because of Runic and because of Tearlaments, I don't want these cards to be milled, so I want to be able to search them. So we are playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom. I still play Ash because of Maxi, but we're also playing Ash because of Tearlaments Haviness. This card literally stops having this, and then it allows you to set up for your Anubis plays, because you know that they are going to be forced to activate Haviness. Then once they activate Haviness, you just have Mannequin Cat on the field. Mannequin Cat literally just says no, and it summons out Anubis. And you're gonna see that in the replays. We are playing 2 copies of Triple Tech Talents, and we're playing Crossout Designator. Then finally 2 starters, 1 smashers, 2 evenly, and 2 Soul Drains. So the way I built this deck is to try to go second if we need to, but mostly for first. But it is still a really good going second build. The Triple Attack Talents really help you, and same thing with evenly. I just don't want to see 3 of evenlies, because I want to play a complete 40 card deck instead of 41. I feel like 41 was throwing me off a little bit too much. So yeah, but anyways, as you can see, like, look at the sample hands. Sample hands are really good. Half the time you just always have full combo. Look at this, like, this hand is actually cracked. Just one of the best hands I think I've seen. This hand is cracked too. So yeah, double Maxi, that's actually really good. Sprite Jet, Wind Up Kitten, Swamp Frog. So you will always have like basically a starter in hand, or you have a Sprite in hand. Now for our extra deck, we are playing 1 Djinn Buster, 1 Sky Cavalry, which is basically, I like to call it the Zeus package for Sprite. 1 Cat Shark, 1 Mannequin, basically crack card to go into Anubis. Onibimaru, 2 Gigantics, 1 Downerd, 1 Zeus, 1 IP, 1 Dark, 2 copies of Elf, 1 Unicorn, and then finally 1 Mech-Knight Crusader Avermax. I want you guys to know, most of the time that once Avermax hits the field, like, Tearlaments really can't get past this card. This card just completely just destroys Tearlaments. Like, they really don't have a way of getting past this. So just keep that in mind. Another thing, if you wanted to change out something, you probably could change out Onibimaru And then from the only Bamaro, you could go ahead and probably end up putting in, trying to think, there's a certain card that you could put into this deck. I'm trying to remember what it's called, to be honest. But oh, Underworld Goddess. Yeah, you could put Goddess, because with Goddess you can just basically take their cards and then stop them from special summoning from the grave if needed, like a Rhino Heart. So yeah, do keep that in mind. But anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Hit the like button for me as well, and thank you for supporting the channel as always. Cat Life is signing out. Enjoy the videos. All right, so round one, we are going to be going first, and we're going to start off with the Swap Frog by tossing out Ronin Toad. Now, Ronin Toadin is like honestly cracked. I don't know why that card is not banned in Master Duel. It's kind of crazy because it just sets up so many plays. But anyways, we can go ahead and stop the having this. From there, we can go ahead and toss out another Swap Frog, and then we can activate Blue. From Blue, we end up grabbing our Jet, and then from Jet, we're gonna grab Smashers. Now, I do like to grab Smashers a lot because of the fact that it can stop like their field spell and also stop like TEARLAMENT's trap as well by just getting rid of those cards. It's really huge, especially because it's a banish. So there, we're gonna go summon out Ifria. Ifria is gonna grab us a Crossout Designator, which is not bad because I do like grabbing a Crossout here on a draw, because this is a potential evenly matched stop. So finally, from there, we're gonna go into Mask, and then from Mask, we're gonna activate Ronin Toadin again to go ahead and summon out the Ronin Toadin, and then we can go into a Mannequin Cat. And at this point, it's looking like GG's, as we have Starter and we also have Smashers and Crossout Designator. So really good start to our turn. They're gonna activate Terraforming. We're gonna activate Elf. We're gonna go ahead and draw into a Ifria, and then from there we're gonna force out the Happiness. Now the reason we're forcing out the Happiness, you're going to see, is Happiness being a dark type allows our Mannequin Cat to just pop off. This is why we go into untargetable Mannequin Cat. That's why they can't imperm us. So from here, they're gonna activate the Palo of Sulik and Grave that they milled, and then we're gonna activate Mannequin Cat. Cat is then gonna summon out the End of Anubis, which is going to negate any of the cards that they try to activate. They are gonna go ahead and hit us with a Fairy Tale Snow. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and activate Sprite Starter. I kind of messed up. I feel like I should have probably activated Starter earlier, but at the same time, I didn't want to lock myself into only level 2. So they do end up activating Printable, but because we have Smashers, we can easily get rid of that card before they can add. And then at this point, we do have the power of going into some other plays because we have Mask. So let's get into the next one. All right, so round 2, we are going to be going first. This time, we're going to start out with Ifria. Ifria is going to allow us to grab ourselves a Starter. From Starter, we're going to go ahead and put the Carrot on field. And then finally, we're going to put Blue. And this way, we can avoid like an imperm if we need to. But honestly, we open up with like a really good hand against Tears. Because we have Soul Drain, we have DD Crow. And then from here, we can go into Gigantic, summon out the Cap Shell. Cap Shell is another draw for us. So we're gonna go +2 for no reason off of just draw, and then from the Jet we can go and summon out Elf, and this is how we get another +1. So Ifria gave us a +1, and then Cap Shell gives us +1. Finally, we're gonna summon out Carrot. From the Carrot, I'm going to link off the Sprite, Gigantic Sprite, to go into Mask, and this way we're gonna keep Carrot on field, and I'm also gonna keep it evenly match Smashers and Soul Drain. And the reason I put even match there is just to like try to bait out like a Cosmic Cyclone or something. They are going to activate the power of Rhino Heart, and then from there we're going to activate Elf, but Soul Drain just practically kills them. There's nothing that they can do, so they're going to go ahead and scoop. Let's get into the next one. All right, so match number 3, once again we are going first, and this time we actually open up Anubis and we open up Swap Frog and Angler. This right here is already like a killer for Tearlaments, because what's going to happen is we're going to toss out the Ronin Toad. Nimbler is going to allow me to go ahead and summon, and then we're going to go into the End of Anubis. So from here, the reason I tribute summon into End of Anubis already is because now we're going to go into Gigantic Sprite, and with the power of Gigantic, what's going to happen is once we activate this effect, we cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. Level, rank, or link to. except for level, rank, or link 2. So we wouldn't be able to summon this out this turn. So I went with this first, and then from there, our opponent's just gonna scoop because there's no way that they're gonna deal with Anubis, right? So what I would have done is went into blue. From blue, I would have then went into jet. From jet, I would have then grabbed Sprite starter, and then from Sprite starter, I would have then made a elf off of those two alone. That way I can go ahead and have Anubis untargetable, and then we have the power of Soul Drain and Ash in hand, plus we have Sprite starter, which I probably would have ended up setting instead of using it this turn. That way I could go ahead and make sure I can stop evenly match if that was the case. But they ended up scooping anyways because they wasn't able to deal with, I guess, with Anubis and Gigantic, and the power of Soul Drain just completely kills them off anyways. So yeah, let's get into the next one. All right, so finally now we're going to be going second, so I get to show off how this deck works going second. Anyways, we're going to activate Maxi here. It looks like they are going to be playing Rhino Heart. So with the Rhino Heart, they're going to go ahead and pitch the Sheeran. Sheeran is then going to go ahead and make a Kit Kalos. So from the kit, they are going to have to make a decision if they want to play through Maxi. I personally think that they probably should, because at least the board that they set up through Maxi is actually really good. And on top of that, like, they still have, like, you know, more plus and more interruptions. But anyways, they decide not to. So we're going to use Swap Log, and then we're going to pitch our Nimble, now Angler, and then now they're going to Maxi us. So at this point, I just say, you know what, we're just gonna play through this Maxi and we're gonna just go for OTK. And I just might think, or what I like about Sprite is the fact that you can OTK with this deck. So they are gonna activate Haviness. Haviness is then I'm going to chain our Maxi. I waited to hold on to our Maxi just in case they had this in their hand. So I'm guessing they drew it off one of the Maxi draws. So right there, we're gonna get our draw off of Aperia. We're gonna actually draw into Jet, which is huge. They're gonna activate Sulik. Sulik is then going to negate us, which I am completely okay with. So from there, they're going to activate the power of Kit Kalos by sending it to grave, allowing them to mill another 5. They do end up hitting a Scream, but that's pretty much about it. So they are missing with their mills, which is very lucky for us. From there, we're going to activate Swap Frog. We're going to go ahead and pitch another Swap Frog to the graveyard. That way we can get the Ronin Toad, and now we have 2 Swap Frogs in the grave that we can use with Ronin. And now on top of that, I know that they have Medora, so I'm going to go ahead and activate Elf to try to bait that Medora out of the grave, because right now we have a lot with Soul Drain and Smashers, but honestly we don't even tend to use Soul Drain. From there, I'm going to go into Mannequin Cat, use Mannequin Cat. I'm actually going to give them a little Copium, realizing that they don't know that even though I gave them Kit Kalos, they're not going to be able to use this card. All they're going to be able to do is pitch a card into the grave, and that's not going to really help them. So from here, we're going to summon out the end of Anubis, which is now untargetable. However, we do get rid of the Sprite Elf, so I could go with Gigantic. Gigantic, I will then go ahead and get rid of the Nimble to summon out Blue. And then from Blue, we're going to grab Sprite Red. And then from Red, I'm going to go ahead and make a Cat Shark. So at this point, it's basically GG's, as I can now increase my Gigantic to 64. And now they're going to activate DD Crew. And we're going to go ahead and activate the power of Smashers, as we don't need our Cat Shark anymore. The only thing that would have saved them is if they had a way of, like, literally stopping us from attacking. But they can't activate anything in their graveyard. So, you know, they kind of just die here. As we hit for 6,400, and then Mannequin Cat goes in and finish them off. So GG, playing through Maxi, going second. Sometimes, you know, this deck just really cooks, man. Let's get into the last match. All right, so match number 5, and this time we're going to be going first. Once again, I'm going to start off with Cap Shell. We're going to activate Jet. From Jet, we're going to grab ourselves a starter. Starter is then going to stay in our hand as we decide to go into Gigantic Sprite. From Gigantic Sprite, I'm going to summon out Blue. And then from Blue, I'm going to go ahead and grab ourselves a Carrot. Now, at this point, I'm going to get rid of Gigantic, go into Sprite Elf. And from our Sprite Elf, I'm going to revive ourselves a Cap Shell. This time, I can use Cap Shell to actually be able to get a draw off of it. So we're going to get rid of our red that we just summoned. We go into Mask. And then from Mask, we're going to get the draw. We do get ourselves a Nimble Angler, which is going to allow us to continue our plays with Swap Frog. That way I can go ahead and make ourselves into a Mannequin Cat. And then from the Mannequin Cat, I'm actually going to just end my turn. Now we do have an interruption with Ash Blossom, which is really good. They are going to be actually not be playing Tears, but they're going to be playing Dragon Link. So this is really cool because I wanted to include this replay to show you that the power of Anubis not only just stops Tears, but it also stops D-Link. So they're gonna go into Striker. This is probably the worst thing they could have done for them, but literally this is what D-Link has to do to even be able to play, right? So from here, Mannequin Cat is gonna summon out Anubis. They're not gonna be able to activate Black Metal, as you're going to find out. That's gonna be negated. Now on top of that, they're gonna activate Droplet. So with Droplet, they do end up like stopping our Anubis. Even if Elf was pointing at Anubis, we wouldn't be able to do anything about that. Me knowing that they need this card, I'm gonna actually go into Unicorn using one of our Anubis, and I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of Imperia. That way we can send Dragon Collapse back. Then from there, I'm gonna use Ash Blossom to negate the quick launch that they ended up grabbing off of the Striker Dragon. And then finally, what I'm going to go ahead and do is go on our turn. We do draw into a triple attack Talents. That card is going to be pretty much dead for us. I'm just going to summon out Mask, and then from there I'm going to summon out another Black Metal, and this time I can use Mannequin Cat again to go ahead and get ourselves an Anubis back onto the field. We can attack the Striker Dragon. So even though they negated it and we got rid of it last turn, we were able to bring it back. That's not going to activate for them, and we're going to bring them down to like, I think a total of like 400 life points, 700 life points. So not bad, and especially with us just getting into triple Tactus Talent. They are going to go into Rocket Caliber. From there I'm going to activate this, and it's going to just be GG's as they end up surrendering. So as you guys can see, this deck is like really fun. It works against Tears, it works against basically D-Link. It will also work against Adamantimators. Just really fun. One thing I would point out is Snow could cause issues for this card if it's not being pointed at by Elf. So do keep that in mind, and also Forbidden Droplet. Well, other than that, this deck is pretty solid. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Tell me, do you like this deck? Are you more happy with Sprite, or are you more happy with Tearlaments? But yeah, thanks. Peace.